Daniel 2. So this is another famous or like very popular, well-known account of Daniel interpreting Nebuchadnezzar's dream. However, when I read through it this time, there were other things that stood out to me. The bulk of it I won't repeat because it's so well known, but I'll just talk about the things that stood out to me. So first of all, I saw Superbook with my kids, and it was actually that when the bodyguard to who went out to kill the wise men, like they stopped because Daniel talked to them, and I didn't really like when I watched that. I'm like, really, was that in the Bible? And then now, like, I read it, and yes, that part was how it played out. That the guard was going to kill Daniel and his friends, and Daniel was like, "Oh, what's up? Why are you doing this? Why is the king's decree so harsh?" Then he found out. So even though God was with Daniel, it wasn't like God continually say, "Oh, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen." He lived his life, and then when he was represented with a situation like this, he then asked the guard what was going on, why was the king's decree so harsh, and then he went and he asked God for the interpretation. And so that they wouldn't get killed with the rest of the wise men. However, another thing that stood out to me, it wasn't like Daniel said, "Oh, okay, they are false," like the soothsayers and people who have used divination, other wise men. He didn't say, "Oh, they are serving false gods, so let them be killed and only preserve him, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego." He actually said, "No, like please don't kill these wise men, even though they're different from him, they serve a false god." He didn't say that, and so that stood out to me too. So it wasn't only to protect himself and his friends from being killed, he's also protecting people who serve false gods. And then, like, God just didn't reveal it to Daniel. Daniel had to ask of God, and then God responded. That stood out to me too. And then, so Arioch hurriedly brought Daniel, and then Daniel told the king that this is his God, the God in heaven. He reveals secret, and he has made known to Nebuchadnezzar what will take place in the latter day. And the part that is interesting to me is this: he was resting. So this was your dream and the vision in your mind while on your bed. So he was resting, and then he was thinking about what would take place in the future. And God reveals the secret. Even though Nebuchadnezzar doesn't know God, even though he was just wondering, "Oh, what will the future be like?" As does all of us. And God revealed to us what the future might look like. And so it's not that God don't only reveal visions of the future or prophecies to his people who believe in him. He might reveal it to like unbeliever. He might reveal it to anyone who he wishes to reveal it to. And then, so things that we see, that we think about, that come true, it's not us that are powerful. It's like God who revealed it to us, who gives us a glimpse of that future. And so then Daniel talk about the king's dream, and then after that the interpretation. And while reading the dream again, I was trying to understand where the stone was broken off without hands. Where did it come from? And in the interpretation, it was actually the stone was broken off from the mountain, and I don't know what mountain this was referring to, but there's probably this the statue was set in a like place with mountains around, or maybe something like that. But then so then that smashed everything, and then the there was no trace of the human kingdom was found, but the stone that struck the statue became a great mountain and filled the entire earth. So then, presented with this, and because Daniel was so clear that this is not his own doing, but God who revealed it to him, Nebuchadnezzar then praised God, saying, "Your God truly is a God of gods and Lord of the kings and a revealer of secret." So Nebuchadnezzar said that even though he doesn't believe in God, and we can see that God is still working in his life to the point where he become an animal before he submits to God. And then let's see. But yes, so those were pretty much my thoughts as I read this.